Can you close that door?
Did you start something?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. No, that's what made me look up. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. Oh, it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. We are ready for another powerful morning with some of the most powerful folks. We are always excited to have um, you guys hanging out with us. We're always looking forward to discussing hot topics and everything that's going on. But we're going to be here back in a moment.
Good morning. My name is Brian McNeill.
And I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And thank you for joining us on our show, Let's Talk About It. We come to each Monday through Friday right here on the SIBN network, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, TuneIn, as well as Facebook Live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Like. Thank you guys for hanging out. As always, comment, share, like, and if you're catching us on the YouTube, subscribe.
This is Wednesday, the 21st, which means it's the first day after Tuesday, the 20th of April. And Tuesday, the 20th of April is when the verdict came out. Now, we definitely want to talk about the power of persistence and perseverance, and we're going to. But there's no way we're not going to be able to talk about the verdict some. Okay, we got to talk about the verdict at least a little bit. And I want to bring it up. For those of you who don't know, yesterday, the 3 charges against Officer Derek Chauvin for kneeling on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, close to 10 minutes until he died, he got sentenced yesterday, found guilty on all 3 charges. Second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and some other endangerment, something like that. His sentence is going to range somewhere between 15 and 40 years, but that's where it's going to be, somewhere in that range between 50 and 40 years, even though the prosecution is going to ask for more time. So the verdict came out yesterday, and people were happy. A lot of people were happy. I think it sent the right message that he got charged because it was on camera. What would have happened if he had gotten exonerated? What would have happened if he had went free with no penalty? What message would that have sent to other police officers in this country who might think like Derek Chauvin? So I'm happy that the verdict came in guilty of all 3 charges. There's so much stuff around this thing. Found out that Derek Chauvin had 18 incidences in his career, and only 2 of them resulted in him being disciplined in any way, but none of them resulted in him being off the street. But 18 other times someone complained about him formally. And what about that's the ones that people chose to do? What about the ones that people didn't formally complain? But anyway, that guy was a bad guy, and he got caught out there on camera. Shouts out to the 17-year-old Danielle or whatever her name was, 17-year-old who stopped and recorded that session, that murder. She apologized again and again. She said, I apologized so many times to the Floyd family in my home. I've cried so much that she didn't do more, that she didn't physically stop them. Every person there, the men that were there, they wish they had physically jumped on Officer Chauvin, but they would have probably lost their life that day.
What do you think was the holdback or the I almost want to call it paralysis.
The people watching?
Yeah.
There were other cops there.
Mm-hmm.
They had already told them to back off several times, okay? But we live in America where police can shoot and kill somebody. So I'm sure that was the only reason. People were saying, get off his neck, put him in the car, okay? But he didn't. The worst thing has been widely reported by now to me, yesterday's news. And this is not normally something we talk about on this show, but we're going to today. But at the same time that the verdict was being released in the same city, okay, a little while away, a 15-year-old girl was about to be jumped by 4 other girls at her home, and she called the police to come and protect her. And she was outside with a knife trying to fend off these 4 other girls at her home. The police pulled up and immediately put 4 bullets in her chest and killed her. The girl with the knife, the one that called the police. Now, there was no attempt at de-escalation. There was no attempt at drop it. Nothing. Pulled up and killed her. Okay. Now, this is still happening today. Okay. At the same time, the irony is just crazy to me. A 15-year-old girl calls the police to try to protect herself from other girls. The police show up and just shoot her. So we're still in that country. We're still in that country.
Good morning, Katura. Good morning, Vivian.
Dr.
Thank you,
says,
Beverly.
good morning. Vivian says, good, great rising. Pretty in gold, Lisa from Beverly, Dr. Beverly. Riots is what would have happened. Good morning, Katura. Carrying that hatred all around. Yes. Yes. So now he's in custody. He was free. Derek Chauvin was out on bail. $750,000 was his bail. He didn't have that money to get him out of jail, but money was raised to get him out of jail on bail. And with that money that was raised to get him out of jail on bail, he went out. He was a free man up until yesterday. Some of our favorite comedians like Kev on Stage made a hilarious, I don't know what you call it, not a meme, video about Derek Chauvin's face when they were sentencing him. Mm-hmm. Did you see it? You know, because Derek Chauvin's eyes was going all crazy, and he had the expression on his face, even though half his face was covered with a mask. He's like, but I'm white. You know? Don't you see? How can I be sentenced? This is our friend Kev on Stage, and it's funny the way he does it. Hilarious, actually, to me.
Ooh, the whole incident has been overwhelming for me. My heart goes out to the family, to the Floyd family. Even with the verdict, they can't get him back. And
that's right. They can't get George Floyd back. He's still gone. So that's no real justice. Last night, the original police report of what happened, the report of that they filed, what happened was shown on Rachel Maddow showed it. And what the report was, you couldn't believe it. The police were called in on a 40-year-old man. And when they arrived, he was in his car. They commanded him to get out of his car. And when he got out of the car, he resisted them. So they were able to subdue him. And once they subdued him, they realized he was having a medical condition. So they called the ambulance immediately. And that was the police report. And they also said in the police report, at no time were any guns drawn on him. Okay, done. That's the police report. It was so innocent. The police were so concerned. They noticed him having a medical condition. So they called the ambulance. That's what they reported, not what was recorded. Reported.
Thank God for the cameras.
Thank God for the camera. Because they would have said, oh, he had a medical condition. Had nothing to do with my knee on his neck. 175-pound man for almost 10 minutes.
So the reason why I titled today's show The Power of Perseverance and Persistence, even in the wake of understanding that we will be spending some time talking about the verdict, is that a lot of things had to happen before we got to this point.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things had to happen. At the press conference following the reading of the verdict, where the lawyers for the prosecution.
Shout out to the lawyers, the team for the prosecution. They did a phenomenal job.
They in the press conference, they actually had to give some homage to the people that didn't get justice, to the situations that didn't receive justice. And fortunately, those great civil rights leaders in the face of what seems like failure after failure after failure, in the face of what seems like loss after loss after loss, in the face of lack of justice, lack of justice, lack of justice, to continue to hold up the banner for equality, rights, and justice, to finally have an opportunity to have a satisfactory verdict.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't call it a win.
That's right. That banner that Lisa's talking about, that blood stained, tattered banner of justice, what you promised, what you say in your laws, what you say in the Constitution, justice. That's what we want. We want equality. Treat us the same way. Give us the same set of laws. Why can Dylan Roof go into a black church in Charleston, South Carolina, shoot up 9 people, leave heavily armed, be arrested with, while being heavily armed, being arrested with no harm done to him? He mentioned he's hungry. They take him to Burger King and get him food and bring him in. Okay. Why can happen to him and so many others? Okay. Why can you shoot up a movie theater as a redhead white man and be arrested with no harm done to you? Whereas a black man holding a cell phone or a wallet can have 9 bullets in his body or more. So those are the things that we want rectified right away. We're not going to spend the whole show talking about this verdict, but we did talk about it in the men's meeting last night. The men's meeting last night was on fire. None of the men were really celebratory. They were glad that we got this result, but they weren't dancing in the streets.
Yeah, I don't think it was that type of a situation. Because again, we don't get him back. We don't get him back. His family doesn't get him back. But at least there was justice served.
Dr. Beverly says, Brian, we are still in this country, but it's not the country. It's the influential mindset that has been installed by the spirit of hate towards humans of different color, a different skin color. I'm feeling you, Lisa. I say go ahead and pray.
Yeah, that is essentially where my mind is at. That's where my head is at. Um, I don't, and I'm not the type of person who wants to fight hate with hate, although I do understand. I do understand. I was very overwhelmed yesterday.
He was, I could witness, cried a couple times.
And I'm still overwhelmed by the whole thing. This is sort of why I manage my intake and I manage what I process and what I hear, what I see. Because I realize that some of the progress that we make could not have been made without some violence, that could not have been made without some retaliation, that there is something to be said for it all.
You're speaking Malcolm X right there. Malcolm X says, throughout the history of mankind, whenever anything changed for anybody or people, there was bloodshed. He said, without bloodshed, there's never been change. That's Malcolm. Bloodshed. That's how he put it. When you want your independence, there had to be some bloodshed. When you want to get this property, this land from these people, if you want to take over this or move that or happen it or have this happen, or to get your freedom or get your rights, there had to be some bloodshed. And it takes a lot of persistence and intestinal fortitude to show up for that. Gandhi in India, who espoused nonviolence, he got a whole country of poor people to line up to be beaten. You got them to show up at the gates to get into the city, knowing that the men standing there were going to club them if they tried to walk in. So they all got in line to be clubbed. Okay. And what happened? They got tired of swinging and opened up the doors. That worked. But there was lots of bloodshed and pain that they were willing to take to get their rights.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot, yes. That's a lot, yes.
But how important is it to you
Mhm.
How important is it to you to gain the success in whatever area that you're looking to find?
Are you committed? That committed? The people of Montgomery, Alabama, for about a year was willing to walk to work instead of take the city bus and boycott and protest of Sister Rosa Parks being asked to move to the back of the bus, which was the law of the city, the law of the land. Black people had to ride in the back of the bus. And if the front of the bus was full and a white person wanted a seat, you had to get up and move somewhere else. That second class citizenship was law. That was legal. That was the law. You had to ride in the back. It used to be, this is how terrible that law was, that ride in the back of the bus. They had to go to the front of the bus to pay. And then once they paid, they had to get right back off the bus and go to the second door. That way they didn't have to walk down the aisle where the white people were. Yep. That's some second class. And then if the bus driver happened to be mean, or if it was raining on that day, they had to be really, really quick to get back there to that second door because he might drive off, lock the door and drive off on them. So that's the law of our land. So it took some persistence. It took a year of boycotting the bus, okay, walking to work and being willing to ride with somebody else. That's some painful. The bus was a convenience. It was a convenience. Okay, but the mission was more important than the convenience. Uh, Vivian Reed says one was killed in Washington too. That wasn't mentioned too often. Yes. Beverly says history forever repeats. Sacrificial lamb, bloodshed. Sound familiar? Well, look at Jesus. Yes, yes, yes. Lord, don't let them take you, Lord. Let them take one of us. Get out of here. You're messing up my mission. You don't understand the mission. Get out of my face. Lord, Lord, I don't want you to be beaten. You don't understand the mission. Okay. Felicia Gardner, yes, I totally agree. It's so sad things like this is still going on in 2021. We need to stand up against oppression and unjust treatment. Yes, and yes, it is still going on. And yes, we do need to stand up against. Sad, we still have to say this.
Hmm.
You know, that whole thing about Black Lives Matter. I just wish, and I've heard it said before, I wish they had added one word to it.
What?
Two. Black Lives Matter too. It's not that they only matter, they matter too, just like yours, you know?
I don't know. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it was necessary because I still subscribe to the thought that, and it was, I think it was Dave Chappelle's joke where he was talking about, I think he said all houses matter.
Yeah, but
But
your
when
house
your
ain't
house
on
is on
fire right now.
fire,
Yes.
yes, that's why I don't think we need the two.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's
At your mother's funeral, yeah, a lot of other mothers have died too. Yes, but we're at my mother's funeral right now. Mm.
Yeah, I understand the two, but I think the two softens the message.
You think it softens it?
I think it softens the message because the all lives, everybody's life matters, and I'm not taking away from that, but everybody's life is not in jeopardy.
That's right.
Everybody's life is not in jeopardy, and while the Black life is in jeopardy at this moment, that's the life that we need to focus on. And anything else is, in a sense, disrespectful.
And yes, that's disrespectful. So when a reporter asks someone, do you believe that Black Lives Matter? And they retort with, I believe all lives matter. Instantly, I don't like you anymore because you don't understand and you're being disrespectful. Or any of those all lives movement people. Okay, that they say that in response to Black Lives Matter because it's a response to Black Lives Matter. That means you don't get it. Did you know the governor of Florida had the nerve to say yesterday, before the day before yesterday, before the verdict came out, that the Attorney General of Minnesota has botched this case and it's possible that a lot of people are going to be disappointed in the result. Are you kidding me? What is he saying? He's saying people are going to be disappointed when Derek Chauvin gets convicted. Is that what he's saying? Because the attorney general botched it? Ugh. Deborah Cross says, Dr. King said, protests is the voice of the unheard. Yes, we must protest for police departments to be reorganized with immediate actions and continuous steps forward. And Deborah Cross also said, Black Lives Matter. Now, Ms. Cross, Deborah Cross, that police must be reorganized. Back in the 60s, Dick Gregory had a great solution to the abuse by police. He had a solution to it. And I brought it up again last night in the men's meeting. His solution was everyone who's a police officer should get free education for their children. And they should all be able to get insurance for their work and their lives. Now, they get free education for their children to be a police officer for as long as they're a police officer, free education for their children. If they get violations, if they abuse someone's civil rights, that puts their child's education in jeopardy. They lose that free education. They lose that insurance. And the question becomes, do you hate Black people more than you love your children? He said it has to be something significant for them to lose in order for them to stop abusing. Okay. Now, I said that last night in the men's meeting, and the guys thought that made so much sense. So why don't we have that? Why don't we have that where there's consequences to the police? They're going to lose something that matters to them. If Derek Chauvin can stay on his neck because he didn't feel like there was any consequences. You know,
he didn't look very remorseful yesterday.
He wasn't remorseful, and that's the other thing too. He wasn't remorseful the whole time in the trial.
He wasn't remorseful in the trial, and he wasn't remorseful after the trial. He wasn't remorseful at the verdict. Good morning.
He looked a little confused that it was happening.
And confused is, in some cases, the opposite of remorse. I have had several children look confused during a whooping.
No, I'm telling you, you missed it in the men's meeting last night, man. The men, it was like I had a Mensa meeting. I had a collection of very, very smart grown men last night. Everybody was smart and on their game last night. Good morning, Melissa. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Melissa.
Today's show topic is the power of persistence and perseverance, but we cannot not talk about the verdict as well.
Well, again, you're dividing the two. I think
let's complete it. Go ahead.
That's what I've been trying to do, and you consistently divide it again.
Do it again. Try again.
So Beverly says, I'm tired of being categorized. My life matters. Yes, I am Black. Yes, all lives matter. Yes, however, when are we going to matter to each other? Where is that movement?
Good question.
Leanne goes on to say, the only thing is people misconstrue the statement Black Lives Matter and fight against the statement, always saying all lives matter. But until Black Lives matter to them, then all lives don't matter to them, even as they say it themselves.
Yes,
unfortunately.
That's the point. Yeah. Deborah Cross, Dick Gregory's solution is worth consideration.
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so. And maybe that is where we can place our energy and effort, is what can be done in your own sphere of influence. Like everybody has their own sphere of influence. Is there anything in your own sphere of influence that can be done to add to the peace, to add to the equality, to add to the understanding? How can we leverage what we have the ability to change? Because I get very frustrated focusing on things that I cannot change, which is why I don't. I focus on the things that I was sent to do, the things that I am good at, and the things that I am gifted to do.
What you're asking is a good question. I remember before you and I connected, I was trying to figure out how can I be a part of the change. Michael Brown murder had just happened, and Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin, all those things were very, very prevalent. And there was a police officer that came to our church. and he was a regular member, and he would on while he was on duty, he would have his uniform on, and he would kind of sneak away for just long enough for one church service, from duty. So he would come to the church, and one day, man, I just couldn't help it. I went and I sat down right next to the guy. I says, man, I know you hear all this stuff going on, on the news, just like anyone else hears.
Yeah.
I mean, I would really just like to ask you, how do you feel about it and what can we do? And to his credit, he had every right to respond this way. He goes, man, I really don't want to have that talk. He didn't want to. He wasn't in the mood for that talk.
He was in church.
He was in church, and I don't know if other people had asked him for such a thing, but the service hadn't started yet. So I was willing to schedule some time, but he wasn't feeling it. And he was a black man too. And but I remember leaving his area, going back up front where I sit, frustrated that he wouldn't talk to me. I was frustrated because I was trying to figure it out.
I get it. Dr. Deborah says that his absence of remorse moved me to pray against the seeds that he may have sown into the minds of those coming behind him. Hate surrounding toxic thoughts and limiting beliefs can be a learned behavior.
I think it is. How many times have we seen pictures of little kids, babies, almost toddlers, of different races loving each other? Happy to see each other. And then that get trained out of them. That's what happens. That gets trained out of them. You've seen the pictures of 6-year-old kids in KKK outfits matching their parents at a lynching. Get taught that.
Today is definitely not my favorite show.
But I want you to go ahead, please make your point.
I'm done.
Make your point about.
I cannot.
Yes, you can.
Persistence
and perseverance.
I'm done.
You the one cut yourself off last time. I didn't cut you off.
Yes,
you did.
It's okay.
No, you did. You started and then you went down another tangent. I watched it happen.
All right, it's okay. I'm not the one for this. This is not my broadcast. This is not my topic. This is not something that I have the ability to contribute to. I will continue to be an intercessor. I'll continue to be a prayer warrior.
Well, understanding that's you understand yourself, and this may not be your topic, but this is a topic that we can't not talk about.
I get that. I didn't stop the conversation. I simply cannot contribute because I don't have the knowledge or the solutions, and I'm not a person that likes to talk a problem to death.
Well, we don't want to talk it to death, but we do need to talk about it.
Absolutely.
If you go, the whole way, don't mean you should go no way at all. No, you do.
I did. I've gone as far as I can.
I heard you, baby. Dr. Beverly says, in the independence practice that I do, I always say some things are caught and not taught. I like that expression. I've heard it before, but some things are caught and not taught. Now, how does that relate here? I want to know.
As it relates to what you were just saying about the children,
okay,
that they're taught the hatred and they're taught it, but in all actuality, it could very easily be caught. It could very easily be caught as an influence of mirroring respect. When you have a certain feeling about an adult, about a person, if you will, then sometimes you model after them.
Yeah, I'm sure. If you watch your mom and dad do something, truly.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that can be an example of it being caught. Like, I just want to grow up to be just like my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was a hateful man. I didn't recognize it as hateful. I recognized it as strong, and I recognized it as, standing up for his opinion. That's as the child is looking up to that parent, they're only seeing based upon their own understanding. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Brenda Booker Bull. I'm happy you're here. Our topic today is perseverance and persistence, and how perseverance, persistence has gotten us to where we are today. Felicia Gardner says, we also need to keep our 1.3 so-called $1 trillion spending power rotating throughout our pockets. We are conditioned to be consumers instead of business owners. We can own businesses and real estate if we break the chain of economic financial depression. If our forefathers was able to make millions before the right to vote, Jim Crow laws, and the civil rights laws, why can't more of us become millions today? Now, we are becoming more millionaires, but you made so many good points in there, Felicia. And it actually came up in the men's meeting as well about how our dollars do not rotate in our communities. You know, whereas, man, one of the brothers, he really went in on it. He was talking about every ethnic group rotates dollars within their community except for Black people. You know, the Asians rotate dollars in the Asian community, Hispanics in the Hispanic community. You know, you see Chinatown, you can see a little Italy, you know, in different cities. You know, where's little Africa? Where's Africa Town? You know, you don't see that kind of thing. Okay?
Yeah, you don't see it, but you can't conflate the two.
Okay, well, we don't need to conflate the two. But what the point is, you know, African dollars do not tend to rotate in our communities.
Well, they don't, because we're not even, to the Africans, we're not even considered African.
Okay, that's
to the Africans, we are not even African. To the Africans, we are a second class, non-country having subset of people. And so we're already fighting that disconnect with our own community,
which is on purpose. That happened. That disconnect, cut off from your culture, cut off from your history. That disconnect.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel you, Sister Felicia, Felicia Gardner. I feel what you're saying a lot. It's 9:30. We are going to do our greeting songs today. We're going to shift our focus. I know you may not feel it, Lisa, but I'm feeling it enough. I'm not dancing in the streets, but I am more hopeful that this happened. I did have a moment of yes. Okay. Dr. Beverly says, more hate. When are we going to matter to each other? Okay. See, these are the kinds of things. I appreciate you for saying that, Dr. Beverly. You need to say these things. You need to say these things at some point. You need to get that off your chest. You know, that's one of the benefits of the men's meeting. I keep going to it, and I do it every Wednesday following a men's meeting because I get so much out of it. But that's one of the things that kept coming up, you know, doing these things with each other and helping each other out. We do have a good friend, Lisa and I. We live in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have a good friend, and she's a white woman, and she's a good friend of ours. And she told us one time, I think it was either both of us together, or at least me, she confided, you know, Brian, it's hard to do. This is before a pandemic. It's harder for her to do her business in Charlotte because of so much of this Black people. We look out for our own and we do business for our own stuff. And she was challenged with that. So she did business outside of the city more than inside the city. And then she said that to me. Were you there when she said that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar yet.
Okay. But she recognized that in our city, and because of that, that was getting in the way of her business. So she had to go other places to do business. And I do believe, hearkening to what Felicia just said, yes, that might have been the case for her, but I think we need more of it. Dr. Deborah says, I believe that perseverance and persistence will reap an outcome. It always does, Dr. Deborah. It always does. It always does. You know, so much of the heroes that we have in sports and in business and in entertainment, they tell you the story. If you listen to their story, they'll tell you about they've been in this game for 20 years and it took just till now to be known at all. You know, we talked yesterday about the story of Tiffany Haddish. She's not new to this. She's been around, struggling, but staying in the game, persisting, trying again and again and again. Jamie Foxx's story, similar. In the game a long time, trying different stuff, trying it different ways, staying in the game. So many of the greats, they got these stories. Steve Harvey tells a story. We went to New York first trying to get on. He had like no money in his pocket, but he still went to New York to try. He didn't have money for lunch. Okay. But you do those things. Is it the price you must pay is that the price that you must pay?
Mm-hmm.
Must. There's no getting around that.
I don't want to say that. There is a school of thought that the price that we get to pay is often based upon our own belief system. Um, you know, we as a people have had the experiential belief. I mean, it's not just a thought, something that we've seen that that you gotta strive for it, that you gotta, that there's that joy comes after the rain, all of these things. But there's also a subset of people that believe the only reason why things are hard is because we believe that they should be hard.
Yeah, I've heard similar thought processes. One thing you said just a minute ago, some set of people believing that you got to have this happen before this can happen. I've been listening to Jim Rohn the last couple of mornings, and one thing he said yesterday morning was, winter always comes. You know, winter is going to come. You're going to have that cold and dark early season. Winter always comes. You don't go any years with no winter. It does come. Okay. Prepare. Don't be surprised when your winter comes, because it always comes. But then after he made that point and banged that drum, but so does the spring. The spring always comes too. So you need them both. You're gonna get them both.
Absolutely. Leanne, yes. Off topic. Just a reminder, we're having a free Diva Zoom session discussion from 11:30 to 1 tomorrow. Join us, network with us, and add to the discussion. And she includes the link there. Scroll down and find it so that you can click on it and go to the Zoom discussion. Beverly goes on to say, courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any of the other virtues consistently. Keep going. Do not fear failure, but rather fear not trying. Never lose hope. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. But the best way out is always through being persistent at everything you do.
A lot of good in that too. There's like 4 points she made there. But one is Bruce Lee's quote: "Don't pray for life to be easier. Pray that you become stronger." Okay. Success is going from one failure to one failure without losing any enthusiasm. I believe that's Emerson. But those are important points. Okay, important points to be made. I appreciate you guys for joining us. This show is called Let's Talk About It, and it's been going since October of 2016, Monday through Friday. Started out as a 15-minute show, went to a 30-minute show, and it settled on an hour-long show. Probably that same first year, maybe the first 6 months, we settled on an hour-long show. But we've been going Monday through Friday. Her name, in case you on here didn't know it, her name is Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And his name is Brian Keith McNeill. Brian K. McNeill.
Yes, Brian K. McNeill. This morning I checked my email. I'm speaking on May 5th, virtually to an organization out of Research Triangle Park, Raleigh, Durham, Cary. And I spoke there last year at this event. They have this same event every year, and I was the feature speaker last year, and I'm going to be the feature speaker again this year. And so they sent me an email again. I've been working this thing for the last couple of weeks, but this morning they sent me an email. They said, Brian, can we just use the same bio and information we had last year? Right? And I looked at it. I said, yes, you can use the same bio, the same pictures and everything from last year, but this time you can spell my name correctly. Okay, because they spelled only one L in McNeill. So I said, and I prefer to go by Brian K. McNeill, the sales confidence coach. That's how I want my name listed. And I even went ahead and wrote up my new talk I'm doing for them. I'm doing a talk that Lisa and I have done together maybe once or twice this year already, but it's called Stop Pitching and Tell Your Story. That's the talk I'm doing for that organization. Stop pitching and tell your story. That's my moment of commercial.
Felicia says, it seems we are conditioned to line our racist pockets. Are we the only ones that didn't get the memo? Come one, come all to America and learn how to create wealth off the system we created to use Black Americans to fund your generational wealth. It can be duplicated and used all over the world. SMH, we must find a way to gain economic freedom. I'm not sure I understand that because when each um, person comes to the US, it is typically to build wealth for their families back home or to bring their families here to build more wealth. So they are looking to, instead of becoming part of the whole, they're looking to benefit themselves as a part of the whole. And I don't think that there's anything that should keep, that should, operative word, keep Black Americans from doing the same. But the challenge was we did not have the same opportunities.
Yeah, there's a difference between those that come here,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of person that comes here versus the kind of person that was brought.
Yeah, that's a very different,
Right.
That was a very different entrance into the system. And we were leveraged as tools and resources of the system,
Yes.
as opposed to.
So I want to say, don't begrudge those foreigners that come into the country and build successful businesses fast, okay? Because if the kind of person that can leave their country and go to another land where they don't even speak the language, that's a different kind of person, okay? Truth be told, though, some of those people that come to our country come with a lot of help from the United States government. When I was working in home improvement, I once went to this home, beautiful home, and then they bought some home improvement from me and they were financing it. So I found out how much was their mortgage. The mortgage was like $500. How do you get this much house with only a mortgage of $500? Well, they were Montagnards, Northern Vietnamese people, and the United States subsidizes Northern Vietnamese people. Our country subsidizes them, so they only have to pay $500, and they get this beautiful home, and the government pays the balance of their mortgage. And I remember thinking, "Wow, how come I don't have that benefit? Why can't my people who work for hundreds of years for free get a benefit like that? At least a subsidy on a mortgage, you know?" That's just crazy to me. They get that because their parents were part of the Vietnam War. The Montagnards. Ugh. Lisa, Dr. Beverly says, Lisa, your heart is big and your journey is great. Your mind is overflowing with continuous thoughts of how-tos and when-tos and whys. Be strong, be fearless, stay beautiful, and believe that anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you. Thank you, Dr. Beverly. Dr. Beverly is so freaking perceptive.
I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
That's a superpower you have, Dr. Beverly, a superpower of yours. She can read stuff. Do you feel like some songs maybe you in the mood?
No, but I'll do it.
Go to the top.
Oh, I want to respond to Dr. Beverly, but I'm trying to choose my words so that I don't
let the words come.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Deborah's up first.
Dr. Deborah, healing and deliverance coach.
That's a good one to be up first today because, we got to get Lisa's back going, You know what, baby? You're right, Dr. Beverly. Lisa's been feeling it because even last night, her spirit was off, but it's because of so much stuff that happened to Verdict. I'm sitting on the couch with my pretty wife underneath my arm, and I pour us our glasses of wine. We're watching our show, Caribbean Life. And I'm like, baby, take another drink or something, because you're not yourself. You're not loose enough yet. You were tense. And I said that to my baby. I was like, come on, baby, this is not, it feels different, because the verdict that happened, she had spent some time thinking about it. So it was, her mojo was affected a little bit. And it is still today. But, she's a real person with real feelings and real emotion and real blood and electrons flowing through her body. Dr. Beverly is here as well. Dr. Beverly! is on the show. Our sister, Miss Vivian Reed, is here as well.
Whoa, Vivian. Vivian Reed is here.
Come on.
Vivian Reed is here, and now the show can go on. Oh.
KT, my girl, KT, what you doing? How you doing? KT, you normally more verbal than this morning.
She said good morning.
I know, but she normally has stuff to say. Maybe she's in a place where she can't contribute as much. Okay, but I like your contributions, KT. Okay.
Felicia, we love you.
So you're doing Felicia to the Jam of Joanna.
Yeah.
I'm Cool in the Game.
Yeah.
Felicia, we love you. How do you like that, Felicia?
We did it before and she loves it.
I don't remember it.
Yes. Like
Okay.
a couple of
Sister
days ago.
Leanne is here.
And it's Leanne.
Oh,
it's Leanne.
Time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Tell me who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone. Sister Deborah Cross, if you don't know what's going on right now, some people have been rocking with the show for years. And some people have been consistent contributors to this show. And those people we like to thank with a greeting song or a greeting logo. So if it don't make any sense, just hang with us. But if you keep hanging with us and you keep contributing, we're going to find the jam for you, like we did for our man, Mr. William Brown. Good morning to our friend Bill. Nobody thinks like him still. We love him so, and we always will. Our friend Bill. Good morning to our friend Bill. Your friend, our friend Bill.
Good morning.
Melissa's on. Now it's time for us to sing her song.
Melissa's on. Good morning, Melissa.
I gotta tell you, yesterday in one of my training sessions, I've been doing training sessions by Zoom. We all have been, and I was teaching the magical selling word. Okay, and I gave a story, and I used the word a couple of times. I said, "Now, what is it?" And the person didn't figure it out yet. So then I said, "Okay, now I really want you to get the magical selling word because." And then I took a sip of water, just like you just watched me do it there. Mm-hmm. And I took my time with the water. And baby, you should have seen it. The person I was training, when I said I want you to get it, and then I used the word again, it was like this with their pen. It was like this. They couldn't move any other place. They was anxious for it. That means I said, look, it just worked again on you.
It's tricky to buy a home, to sell a home, don't do it alone. Choose Brenda. Hey, choose Brenda. Good morning, Brenda Booker.
We love whenever you get a moment to slide through. We consider you our sister, our friend. Speaking of sister and friend, you know whose birthday it is today? Cool. Tara Lyles' birthday.
Happy birthday, Tara. Happy birthday, Tara.
She probably won't show up to B Team either because she is in Jamaica for her birthday. Her and her fiance, they're in Jamaica.
That's right. Shout out to Tara Lyle, birthday around the world. Felicia, we love you, guys. We love you too. Thank you so much. She said, I love it.
I love you guys. I'm glad you love it. You know.
And Deborah says it's quite amusing.
So let's find you a jam, Deborah. If there's something that means something to you, a song or a rap lyric or whatever, and help us find it. Now, sometimes we're lucky where one of the other contributors tell us a song for someone else, like Bill Brown's jam. Someone else suggested that to us.
It was Beverly.
It wasn't Beverly. No. It was Renee.
Oh, that's right. It was Renee, Angela Renee.
Angela Renee, yeah.
Beverly suggested quite a few others, though.
Yep, she's help us find some songs. Melissa Price gave us the Melissa Price is Melissa's own that comes from Ramble On.
Ramble On, yeah.
She recommended that to us too. So Deborah Cross, we got some Deborahs in the room, so help us find you a jam.
Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to ground myself, and I don't know. None of my stones are speaking to me right now.
Did you try that one right there?
Yeah, it's pretty, but it's not doing it. I thought soda light would do it, but probably.
You're looking for a stone that you can fondle and ground yourself?
Yeah. Yep.
Why you say no, baby? What's that finger for? What's that about, baby? So is this something you don't want me to say? Is that what it is?
Oh my goodness.
See, Lisa has been fondling her stones here, looking for a stone whose energy would help ground her, okay? And so she couldn't find one yet. So,
give me my stone. Hematite. I think that's what I need.
Okay. Does Deborah Cross ever go by Deb?
No.
By chance? And they have a song for her. She don't go by Deb.
No,
okay.
She goes by Deborah.
Okay. Well, that's that.
Deborah I want Deborah.
I want you to be called by what you want to be called. That's it.
Yes, she's thinking about it. She's gonna get one. That's okay. We're gonna get one. We have had a week. I really feel like the past 2 weeks haven't ended. That probably has a bit to do with it. Yes, that's right, Deborah. I listen very well. And so I think part of some of the energetic weight that I am challenged with right now, the vibrations being lower, heavier, is that we have had to almost perform 2 jobs at the same time over the past 12 days.
Project coordinators, by hiring people, project coordinators.
Yeah, I know. I have them both right Black here. Obsidian. Yeah, I have the Black Obsidian. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I have the Obsidian right here, and I have the Hematite right here.
How cool is it to have a friend
the Obsidian was
that
not
can say
working
that
for me.
and teach it?
So I think that it's the Hematite. I thought I had more than one piece because I like to.
Dr. Beverly says, breathe first and channel the energy you desire, and you will find your balance for grounding. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And they're right. But I just think it's cool to have friends like Dr. Beverly and Dr. Deborah that can teach you something.
One you can depend on.
Lisa's talking about stones right now and the properties of stones. I did not know that I believed in stones until I took Dr. Deborah's class when she was talking about what does the Bible say about stones and gems. And it was such an informative class. I got so much out of that class. And not only Melissa was there.
Yeah, Melissa was there as well. Melissa's very astute as well. Mm-hmm. But you know what else I thoroughly enjoyed about it is that it allowed us to I have that here too, I think. It allowed us to do something together, like with the stones. I think that if I had presented them to you and you had not had that class, you would have been like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you think I would have?
Felicia's, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Felicia says, I agree with your statement. However, we are the only ones that don't have businesses in our communities compared to others. I'm not mad at the foreigners, but they don't realize our struggle. Unfortunately, mass media always depicts us in a negative light, but I do believe we will rise up. Every day I see more of us conscious and make moves through entrepreneurship, home ownership, and politically. We must continue to create multiple streams of income while supporting each other's, and I'm sure that means growth. Melissa Price says, put the citrine in the left side of your bra and the hematite on the right. Bra stones work great when my energetic vibration is off kilter. Melissa, what? Bra stones? Melissa, is this a move that you have done?
I do it too. Sister Jeannie taught me that a long time ago.
With some stones in your bra?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Now I also
making out with a woman after a date of dinner
and
reach up and touch and you're like, discover a rock in her bra. What the?
I often
that would change the mood. I'm like, what is this?
I often carry citrine in the bra.
Really?
I mean, not citrine.
You often have rocks in your bra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We said this is the opening of the last will be first and the first will be last.
Yes. Deborah Cross says, great show. Thank you, Sister Deborah.
Thank you.
We get out of here in actually 2 minutes. We leave our show at 9:55. It's from 9 to 9:55. The reason why we get out at 9:55, we used to get out at 10. But we get out at 9:55 because we have a show starting at 10 o'clock. It's called Coffee Time with the Coach, Josh Smalls.
Coach Josh Smalls, we love him. Melissa says, I always, in all caps, carry my crystals in my bra. What? And when the bra comes up, abundance. Dr. Deborah says, yes, my bra has rocks.
What?
Rocks and rocks and rocks.
I am discovering stuff about you women. Y'all carry what?
We carry everything in our bra.
Now, my mother is big titty woman, okay? Now, she carried everything in there too. Purse, money, change. You know, she told me this when I was an adult. We grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, she's going to get you.
So, hey, here. We used to go outside and play in the snow. Me and my sister Tracy, we'd go outside and play in the snow, and our hands would get cold and numb. And she said she'd bring us in, and we'd warm our hands underneath her breast, me and my sister Tracy. That's what she did to her kids, me and Tracy. Rock bras.
Rock bras and my bra rocks.
Felicia Gardner says, shows like yours and others keeps me motivated to stay on task to my financial goals. I love the positive energy. And you know what, Felicia? Thank you for saying that, but you're a part of that positive energy. If you weren't here, Felicia, today, we would not have had this much contribution. We wouldn't have had your contribution if you had not been here. So thank you for saying so, but you're a part of it.
Absolutely. And we're grateful that you guys choose to hang out with us on the Empowerment Network. And let's talk about it with the Empowerment Duo. Today is Wednesday. Oh, you got to get that last one.
My grandma said, when you go out on a date, honey, for the first time, always keep a 50 in your titty, because you never know when you need to catch your own cab home. Keep a 50 in your titty. That sounds like a grandma saying.
Yes, Lord.
But it's a good count. It's good counsel.
Absolutely. Don't forget